The recordings for anybody that wants to see this, and I can't do it right now. Okay, and what I'm going to do is go through the histology test that I gave previously to another class. I gave it to you a couple of weeks ago to take a look at, but there are no answers provided. And I'm going to give you the answers right now. Okay, it's an actual test. Actually, I used it several times. Okay, let's see if I can do the share screen thing, and I still know how to do it. Okay, can any of you see the screen, and it says at the top, recent announcements, and there aren't any?
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, so let's go ahead with then. This is not quite the same as the page you were looking at in the class today. That was for Bio 11. This is for the review session. And there are some handouts that are the same, some handouts that are different, some handouts that are a little more complete. More complete is going to be this one here. That's what I'm going to look at today. Complete histology test previously given. Answers in class or Zoom. Well, Zoom. Okay. So now you got to figure you're taking the practical exam. You'll have 80 minutes. And the first, I think it's 33 questions on this test are images and all on histology. Okay, and then the rest of the test is on the models and such. So you're realizing, oh, there's going to be 67 questions on the models, and functions and cranial nerves and all the rest of the material. So if you're given a third of the test here, it should take about a third of the 80 minutes. Actually, I've done it many, many times, and it takes 22 minutes. I think you and I would take longer, just to be sure that we know the answers and we can talk about it. Because when I gave the test, I didn't get the answers, of course, right away. And it always took 22 minutes to do, which is good. Okay, so let's open this guy up. And this is the first question that will pop up. Get you guys out of the way. Okay. Now, there's no answers here, so I'm going to ask you, to please be vocal and try your best to get an answer. I don't give a darn if you're right or wrong, okay? But I want you to try, because there's some reasoning that goes into formulating an answer. If the reasoning is correct, you'll remember it. If your reasoning is wrong, you will remember that too. Okay, what organ did this slide come from? Now, of course, you read the answers. There's 5 choices. Eliminate 4.
Is it the kidney?
It's the kidney, right? And
Is
then,
it the
go ahead.
glomerulus?
It's pointing to the glomerulus. You're right. Now, could it be pointing to Bowman's capsule? Well, actually, the point's a little bit off. Bowman's capsule's here, but Bowman's capsule is not one of the answers. So I try to keep the answers distinct so that if you get it right, you're not going to get confused with something else. Anybody want to ask anything about this one? Okay, that was good. Okay, you saw this slide today. What organ was this picture taken from? Now read the answers. Go all the way to the end because it may be there.
Liver.
Liver. And I, in my mind, would think, what's that? Oh, central vein. Well, that's the end of it. It's the liver. But here are the tile-like lobules that we see cut across. Okay. Now, what's the functional unit of this organ? You have to have already correctly gotten liver, or you'll miss this part too. But you did get liver. So what's the functional unit of the liver?
Nephron?
No, nephron is part of the nervous system. And this
The
is part
lobule.
of the lobule, yes.
Oh,
Okay. This is part of the digestive system. Okay. Now, since I don't know who got it right, who got it wrong, I don't care. But like I said, try to remember or think through, probably it's automatic, the way you came to the correct or the wrong answer. And then either keep it or exclude that. The fifth and sixth questions. This is strictly a tissue type. ET stands for epithelial tissue. CT stands for connective tissue. Of the five, which one are we looking at here? You haven't, I don't believe, seen this before.
Dense regular.
No.
is it hyaline cartilage?
Yes, it's hyaline cartilage. Okay, now, for me, I think of boiling plastic. And you see bubbles coming up, like when you look at a pot of water and it boils. Okay, this is all the hyaline cartilage. These are chondrocytes. Where would you find this cartilage now that we know it's cartilage?
Particular? I would think tendons, but I think I'm wrong.
Okay.
The
It's not,
trachea.
okay, trachea, but yes, but it's not a possible answer. You can't give me trachea. It would be correct.
Is it articular cartilage?
It's the articular cartilages. Okay, in other words, the ends of the bones, distal and proximal ends, to protect the bones. Okay. It's not tendon. If you imagine your Achilles tendon, for instance, behind your heel, if you had this cartilage, which is akin to chicken breast, embedded in your Achilles tendon, that's going to hurt. Not going to work. Okay. Seven. What's the tissue type? Again, tissue, not organ, seen here. And it's pointing out a couple of arrows. I would tell you that the arrows are important, but the tissue type that's being asked is all of this.
Is it pseudostratified columnar epithelium?
Yep, and the word you left out is ciliated, but it's not necessary. Let's see. In fact, the answer doesn't put in ciliated. So that's why he lets it out. That's okay. That's it. Pseudostratified, ciliated columnar epithelium. Where in the body would you find this tissue?
Lungs.
Okay, lungs are part of the respiratory system, and respiratory system is the key, but it's trachea. It's in the trachea. Sort of brushes away the dust and stuff. I woke up this morning. I thought, oh, I got time for class. I'll go back to sleep for a little bit. And threw a down comforter over myself. The damn thing had sprung a leak, a tear, and feathers came out and lodged in my throat. Oh man, that's a terrible way to wake up. Okay, I showed you this picture an hour ago. What? It's one question. What's the organ? The entire thing that you're seeing here.
Salivary.
It is the salivary. Yes. Okay. Here are the acinar cells, all these ducts. We know it's a gland because of the lobes. Okay. Well, we have other glands here. The large intestine is not a gland. The testes are a gland. Thyroid's a gland, and liver is a gland. So we had 4 that we could have looked at. But this is the one I said, if you can't remember it because you can't remember it. If that person that is not making an impression on you. One question, what is the tissue type? Little rings should give it away.
Skeletal.
Skeletal muscle, right. I'm just looking at something. One question. Usually they have 2, but some have 1. What's the tissue type that you're looking at here? I've shown you this on 2 different slides. This is a 3rd slide. But these fibers running across it are common to all of the slides.
Areolar.
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 You know, areolar makes me correct. I've never heard anybody pronounce it. I guess so I don't care. It's a written test.
Yeah,
Areolar,
exactly.
areolar connective tissue. Another single. There's 2 white blood cells. They're both the same type of white blood cell. What's the type?
Neutrophil.
Anybody disagree? It's a neutrophil. Multi-lobed nucleus. These are pretty big neutrophils, by the way. Now we're back to 2 questions. What's the organ that this was taken from? This looks like shattered windshield, doesn't it? Okay. Or you could think of it as sponge. What's the organ?
D,
Didn't catch that.
lung, D.
Lung, okay. Yes, it's the lung. Okay. What's the functional unit of the lung? Now that we know it's the lung. Well, the functional unit, let's do it differently. The glomerulus is a unit in the kidney. Sinusoid, we never heard about that one. Follicle is a unit in the ovary. Nephron is the functional unit of the nervous system. It only leaves one. It's the alveolus. 15, what organ was this taken from? It's not asking what this is. It wants to know what organ it has to have been taken from. You have to use a little reasoning here.
Is it the spinal cord?
Yes. It's part of the nervous system, of course. And we saw this slide today as well. This is a frequently missed question. There's no need for it, but people do miss it. And I don't think that you've seen it in this picture before, but I have shown it to you twice today. What organ do you think this is taken from? Now, don't be confused because you're thinking in 2 dimensions and that everything's a ball here, okay? Try to think in 3 dimensions what it might look like.
Is it the testes?
It is. It's the testes. And those are, well, I won't answer it because the next question wants you to tell me what's the structure at the end of the pointer. There are many of those structures. Actually, they all interconnect. If you look at the possible answers and you have already decided it's the testes, well, then there's only one thing here that refers to male anatomy at all. It's the D, seminiferous tubule. None of the others could work. Lobules for the liver, Bowman's is for the urinary, the follicles for the ovary, and the islets for the pancreas. '18 and 19, what tissue type is it? I mean the tissue type from the bottom here up to here. What's the tissue type? Take a look at the shape of the cells.
Squamous,
I don't think that was a choice.
stratified squamous.
Right. Stratified squamous. And then number 19, what's a general function for this type of tissue? Read them all.
Protects from abrasion.
Yes, it does. Okay. So the answer there was B, protecting from abrasion. Now, I never said that while I was showing you slides. That was in our lecture notes on the integumentary system last week. This one, not going to be hard. What organ is this tissue from?
Eye,
From the eye. Here's the choroid coat. The sclera hasn't been given its fair share of room back here, but it's here. And here's the retina. '21. What organ is this tissue taken from? I don't want to know the type of tissue. I don't care about the pointer in this question. I want to know the organ, the whole thing.
Tongue.
No, it's not esophagus. Esophagus is a tube.
Stomach?
Small intestine.
It's okay. It's not the stomach because it's got lots and lots of these dips in it. Okay, and it's not perfectly sort of flat on the top, although you can't see all of the top. Probably the next best choice though. It's small intestine. Okay, this is one I showed you today, but it wasn't this slide. So you have to get sort of used to being a little flexible, you know, when you see different colors or whatever, but everything's here. Now, I said there are goblet cells, even in the small intestine. And those are these small white ones that you see here and elsewhere. What is the organ? The whole picture.
Ovary. Really just guessing.
That's it, the ovary. Yeah. I think I showed this picture today. What's the structure at the end of the pointer? Now, I would, I'm pointing to this. What is this entire structure? Look at your answers.
Is it the corpus luteum?
No. But of course, that's a good choice because it's part of the ovary.
Yeah, that's what I thought of when I first saw it.
This is a follicle. This is the enlarged Graafian follicle, the one that will erupt. It's still got the egg in it, the ovum. Corpus luteum never has the ovum. 25 and 6. This is a better picture than I was able to show you today. Okay, but everybody's got it. You had it for 2 weeks, and so does everybody else. What's the structures at the end of the pointers? I don't want to know the organ. I want to know these structures. Make a guess.
Eyelay.
Which one?
See, eyelay. No, right?
Islets.
Oh, it is. Yeah, islets. Yeah.
Yep, islets of Langerhans. Islets is a good enough name. That's it. Now tell me the organ. It's the pancreas. And these are the acinar cells that produce pancreatic amylase. This looks like an organ with something embedded in it. Okay. The islets are where we have the endocrine function producing glucagon and insulin. What tissue type is this? Now, Emily, you answered this before, but with the wrong picture.
Did I say dense irregular?
Dense what?
Irregular?
No, it's dense regular.
Regular. Okay.
Well, you've had it before. I mean, you missed it before. And then when you missed that one question, you went silent. It's like you didn't want to miss any more. But now you hear other people missing them too. You know, it's no problem. Okay. This is dense regular. Regular meaning running in more or less parallel lines. Oh, it looks wavy. That's because of the knife going through it. You ever take a hot knife and cut butter and it doesn't come out smooth, okay? And if the knife is serrated, you'll find a bunch of these waviness lines. Okay, so this is tendon. Where is this tissue found? In the tendons, I answered it. Okay, so actually the type of tissue is dense, regular. Dense, irregular connective tissue is the dermis of the skin. '29. What's the tissue type seen at the end of the pointer? It means this chain of epithelial cells. And another one on the other side. If they form a tube, and they do, these are connected by other cells to the opposite side. But what's this kind of cell called?
Stratified cuboidal?
It's not stratified.
Simple?
Simple.
Okay.
Simple. It's not stratified, it has to be in layers. In this layer here is a single layer. This is a single layer. They're connected. For instance, I said if you take a sheet of paper, you have one layer of paper. Now roll it up into a tube. You still have only one layer of paper. We're not going to overlap the ends. We're just going to bring them together. So this is simple cuboidal. Where in the body is it found? Now, from the choices you're given,
Charlie, you said it's simple cuboidal?
yep,
Oh,
it's not going to be in the skin. The skin epidermis is stratified squamous. The dermis is dense, irregular. You're not going to find it in the uterine tube. The uterine tube or oviduct is going to be lined by transitional. You won't find it lining the blood vessels either. There'll be squamous cells lining the blood vessels. I never said that before, but don't ever pick an answer that I didn't say. Kidney tubules is the correct answer. The ureter is lined by transitional. Okay, and this is simple cuboidal A. Now you saw this picture today. What's the organ that this was taken from? Notice the large number of goblet cells producing a lot of mucus.
Is it the liver?
No,
Small
Body colon?
intestine.
it's the colon. I think I heard that in the mix there. It's the large intestine. The large intestine, like all other parts of the GI tract, except the upper esophagus, always have to add that, is lined by simple columnar epithelium. I describe this one as an octopus trying to get at me, coming over my fence. The epithelial layer is, oh, I just said it. Shut up. It's simple columnar. The epithelial layer is simple columnar in the GI tract. And then what's the structure. I'm not saying tissue or organ. What's the structure at the end of that pointer?
Taste buds.
Taste buds, yes. Now, what we would do if it's for a face-to-face test is that you'd be shown a series of slides on PowerPoint on the screen in front of the class. And when everybody has finished, everybody's turned loose on the rest of the questions, which we begin with question 34. This is 33. And they have the rest of the time to answer the rest of the questions. The longer they take on this portion, the less time they end up having. So being pretty well versed on this portion really does help. Okay. On the face-to-face test, there is no going back. You're shown the slide one time. On the Canvas test, if I had used this same one, I couldn't stop you from going back, okay? But you're going to waste your time doing that. Okay? You want to go right on through it till you get through number 100, and then within the extra time, go back to whatever you'd like. Now, let me see here. There we go. Okay. You may not realize how much I just showed you in getting ready for the test. I knew how much I've shown you. It's quite a bit. Okay. And that's all I wanted to show you today. Okay. So if you have any questions, now is a good time. If now is not a good time for you, and you think of something over the weekend, you can email me. You can bring the questions to class on Tuesday. Okay. You think this is going to be hard or easy by the time you get to it?
Should be easy. So
Yeah.
this is going to be shown on all 3 tests,
No,
which
this is for the practicum only.
okay.
This is strictly for the practicum, and the models will only be for the practicum as well. Which those models I said we're going to get out, have on the tabletop next week, and get them down. I think they're pretty straightforward anyway. All the pictures of those models are in our Canvas material, but actually seeing the real thing and holding it, I think helps a lot. We don't have long to go, so make as much time as you need to bring your score up or keep it up, or however you're doing. I'm going to have another session like this next week, the end of the week. And during that session, I'll set up time slots, if you like, where I can talk to people individually. And if they want, we can talk about their grade, how many points they need. I usually do that on Excel, but Excel let me down recently. So anyway, we'll do that, and we'll review the lecture material, especially on Tuesday, the lab material on Thursday, and during lab on Tuesday and Thursday, we'll look at the lab material. Okay. Anything else?
One question. I missed 22. What's 22?
Oh,
Anybody know?
I can get back to it, I guess.
I don't know why I
I
didn't write it.
don't have it either.
I don't even remember it.
Well, you all have it on Canvas.
I had ovary for that question, 22.
Yeah. 22, that would be the ovary with the follicle.
Oh, follicle.
But that wasn't 22. I've got 22 on the screen. Can you see it?
Mhm.
Okay. It's what's the structure? We didn't answer that. We skipped it. That's a villi or villus, singular. That's a villus. Only the small intestine has villi. Okay. Okay then. Have a good weekend.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Okay.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlie. You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.